What's up, you guys? It's the fabulous one,新林無家with another video. I already told y'all I was gonna review the Demon House by Bagans, and you know I had to get ready for this. Forget the music. I'm watching I Can Do Bad All By Myself. Hopefully I don't get flagged. I'm just keeping noise in the room. I watched it last night and that shit scared the crap out of me. Yeah. But yeah, I had to get my Zach Bagans on. You know, I got the rings, the outfit, and I got the jacket. You see? Yeah. I had to dress up for this one. Okay, you see that? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The Zach Bagans on. So yeah, here to review it. This video is going to be long, so yeah, I just got out the tub, you know, I had to be fresh. I look good, I look just like Zach. Yeah. Hopefully he watches the video. But I'm tagging everybody from that show. Well, I'm probably not going to tag him because I'm shy. And I'm kind of shadow banned on Twitter, so. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the review. Yeah. I watched the Demon House documentary by Zach Bagans on Travel Channel last night. I actually watched it twice, and I turned around and watched it again because today, with headphones on, yeah, and I actually saw footage on what I watched today that wasn't shown last night. The show was fast-paced, right along with my hormones. So anyway, yeah. Let's get into the review. There's a warning at the beginning that said the following documentary may not be suitable for all audiences. This film shows real people, places, and events involving alleged demonic possession. Demonologists believe that demons can attach themselves to you through other people, objects, and electronic devices. View at your own risk. Just like with this video and this review, you haven't seen it, and I'm about to go through everything I seen and try to remember all, you know, everything. So you just watch this video at your own risk. If you don't like spoilers, then you're gonna have to go to another video, a much shorter video, because I got to talk about this. Zach is walking through snow to an abandoned church. He's talking about he's investigated over 1,000 incidents and has a show on the Travel Channel. Excuse me. He says he's one of the leads in ghosts and demonology. He said that this is the case that really fucked him up. I suggest watching this online because he's actually cussing in it. They all cussing in it. He said the story was huge. The next Amityville, so he went all out. He said he had resources and couldn't sleep for 8 days. He said it took him 3 years to finish this footage. He said this film is cursed. So it starts off with, you know, the intro of all kind of a lot of demon imagery. You know, it said what would be Satan? He's devouring humans, and it was like something you see in like if there was really demonic horror movies, you know. But yeah, the music in the show was very ominous, and just imagine you wearing headphones or you watching it last night in your room and you're like, what the fuck, you know. He says in 2014 he had a nightmare where he's a spirit hanging out with other spirits, and he's showing them a trick where he's moving an object on the table without touching it, like he's always trying to get them to do in his investigations. He says he's in front of a door where he can't move, and the door opens and a 12-foot tall goat figure is standing there in black and dark. In the dark, he said black smoke comes out of his mouth and he's forced to inhale it. He woke up and realized it was some serious shit. He said he was in California where he started getting phone calls about it, you know, about the house. It shows news segments and clippings talking about it, so he buys the house. In the Inside Edition report, the news lady refers to the house as a portal to hell. And by the way, Zach was looking extra scrumptious in that interview, that little short clip that they showed of him. He arrives there a week later. He learns that a lady by the name of Latoya Ammons and her children were at the center of the haunting. They moved out, but others moved in, which made it difficult for him. I forgot the word he used. They arrived, and the guy had to move his stuff out of the house. The guy that was in there, I don't think he was supposed. I don't think he paid to stay there or whatever. I don't know. I think he said poachers. I'm not sure. That might be what he said. He got a text from Chris Flemings about him buying the house and sends him a warning. You know, Chris sending him a warning. He told him there's a 12-foot guardian in the house, like in his dream, that he should stay the hell away. He says he wished he had taken his advice, but he didn't. He has the house, but he wants to contact the former family of the house. They never returned his phone calls, but they found out where they lived through the interview that I think Inside This went to interview Latoya, and that's how he was able to find the address of the house or the apartment that she stayed at. So, yeah, I like wrote all this down. So, he says the story broke out in 2011 where they moved into the rental house in Gary, Indiana. They started hearing footsteps going up and down the staircase, saw shadowy figures in the living room, flies swarming the porch. Just had to make sure this was still recording. A priest said their house was haunted. Someone said it was home to 200 demons. It started affecting their children more. They started having dark conversations about death with people who weren't there. The doctor said it was delusions. Then it blew up. He arrived hoping they'd talk to him. A male family member by the name of Kevin answered the door, but they refused to talk about it. Kevin wanted to talk. He said it was affecting the kids, especially the youngest one. It was hurting him. It was attacking the kid in his room. The kid started a weird chant in the living room. The youngest nephew started playing the video game, stopped playing the video game, and his eyes is going in the back of his head, and he's making this gurgling sound. Then the other one started doing it. The kids started attacking each other. The nephew tells his grandmother to get her hands off him, bitch. One of the boys asked the other, "Are you ready to go, my brother?" Then he says, "Yes, my brother." Brother. Yeah. He kept slamming himself over and over in the backseat of the car. He said it was a presence in the house before they moved in. So Kevin wasn't allowed back into the house after meeting Zach from Zach being in the house. Because they thought that he brought something back with him. They took the boys to the emergency room. One boy was violent. The grandmother said something was speaking in her granddaughter's head. One of the boys was moving his head and saying he's going to kill. The family service lady said he began to growl and headbutted his grandmother's stomach. The grandmother said he had an evil smile on his face. The boy started walking backwards up the wall. Valerie said she left. The psychologist left the room too. They showed footage after the hospital incident with the grandmother. They're talking about, different parts of the room. So Captain Charles Austin was called after finding out some kids weren't attending school. He found candles and Bibles that were burned. He said he's never ran into anything like that. The officers went into the basement. Charles said there was a crucifix on the candle. He said he was ready to leave. He said he was walking, saying, "That's weird." And he said, "Why would someone concrete the basement?" Zach thinks it may have been a ritual. I'm trying to think that's what happened, but yeah. Charles said things started occurring. A basement that goes to a room. He had an audio recording with an unidentifiable voice, and it said, "Hey." Charles said he's in the car and his FM radio went to static. A voice says, "Who in there?" Other policemen quit and moved away from the area. Charles said it attacked women and children physically, but the strongest of them all, men, electronically. The family service lady wouldn't come back. Something was coming from under the stairs, causing the whole house to change. An exorcism was placed on Latoya with holy water and salt. While that was going on, the police officers were digging under the stairs. They found a fingernail, red tin, socks, and panties. And by the way, I like the way Zach was saying panties. Okay, moving on. Necromancy is the communication with the dead. I think I own a book called a Necronomicon by was it H.P. Lovecraft? In the bedroom of the front, on the front door, or by the front door, the blinds started dripping a liquid. They thought the grandmother did it. They thought it was coming from outside. The CPS worker touched the fluid. The whole half of her hand turned white. She had to leave the house. She complained of pain. The priest came to the front porch and he was completely white when Charles told him, asked him what was wrong, and he turned around and said the blinds were dripping. He was requested to perform an exorcism on Latoya. She recanted that she felt the spirit lift from her after. Zach thought it was a hoax. He was being threatened by a director who wants to make a movie about it. The ambulance wanted to go through it with the movie producer instead. The landowner said he was skeptical and said the former owners didn't experience anything there. The neighbor said they didn't see anything either. Zach slipped the fiance of the neighbor's fiance, some money, and he started talking. He said he had friends. He could tell him some stories. He was offered cash, and he went in about what he was offered, and he said it was a market on it. The landowner handed an article that said the grandmother said nothing went on, which I think they said it was the step grandmother of Latoya. They showed a photo which they thought was a ghost standing on the porch, but they said it was Zach said it was fake. It was some app that did that. The inspector found black mold, and he was explaining that this could contribute to hallucinations and such. Made me think about what happened to the late Korean Games. A woman drives by and says she used to live there in the 90s. Her name is Mika. She brought up 3 kids. She said her mother lived there first. Coincidentally, she said she had 3 kids, like Latoya. Mika said she never experienced anything with her, but her friend said that she heard footsteps. She never went to the basement. She was really, really uncomfortable when they went down to the basement. Zach asked her if she would go down there, and she said, "You first." And when she was talking about the basement, she thought her son kicked her, and she said, "Don't kick me," and he said he didn't kick her. So Zach rolled it back, and he brightened up the contrast, saying that nobody kicked her. You could see her buckling, her leg buckle. She said her brother used to stay in the basement, and that she just never felt comfortable going down there. And on the black screen, it was a message from her saying, "I had dreams in the house where someone I knew would die. Then my brother, who used to live in the basement, was shot and killed. No one I knew would listen to me. Then it happened. That's why I don't go into the basement." The kids wanted to do the night vision thing, but Zach told them that it was scarier in person. Did y'all pay attention to the way Zach looked in that scene? He had the shades on. I mean, he looked like a young mobster. Cause I was waiting on Zach to be like, "Hey, what's the matter with you?" I think he's Italian. "You got my money. Gave you one favor. You about to get whacked, capiche?" I'm sorry. I thought that he looks like a young mobster. He kind of reminds me of Kevin Richardson too from the Backstreet Boys. He really looks like him. So anyway, he's trying to lighten it up. Something was going on with one of the daughters. She asks if there is a demon still there and moved out. The son asks if the demon would follow them because he was afraid. Mika said, and her voice goes through her mic saying, "Run, Latoya." Zach sets up an altar in the living room. On camera, Zach starts attacking Jay. He asks Billy what he said. He said, "Get the fuck out. Get out, get out, get out." He gets a phone call telling him someone is trying to break into this house. This is another scene. The police won't go near the house. Then one of them said, fuck that. And he said there's a piece of a 5-piece report on the house. I mean, they really didn't want to go in that house. He tracks down Valerie, the CPS worker who quit through Skype. She says she doesn't want to go back to that house, and it's taking her a while to get past it. She said he did walk back on the wall, the little boy. She said he doesn't even remember doing it. The child was confused by the question, that he didn't believe he did anything. She dealt with children dying from being beaten and burned, but this was the last straw for her. The other CPS worker and home inspector had all types of injuries. I'm gonna get to that later. The father had a weird experience as he was riding a bike. And I forgot what happened to him. He had an accident on the bike. Charles ended up in the emergency room. He slipped and fell on the ice on the sidewalk. He was also shot, but he survived. Excuse me. He received a phone call from Mika, a frantic phone call from Mika regarding her daughter. The one who was asking Zach if the demon was there. She attempted suicide by overdosing and stabbing herself. One of his crew members quit immediately. They take them to a church to meet with Father Mike. Erica doesn't remember going into the house during her conversation with Zach. He pulled her to the side to, ask her some questions. The cousin said she had holes in her wrist like stigmata. Zach is reading a verse from a Bible while Father Mike is preparing himself. Mika said her daughter was screaming at her. She saw a 6 engraved in Erica's back. You can see Erica reacting while the exorcism was going on. Erica drops her head. Father Mike said it might have left. He brought up his friend Debbie, who was murdered along with a roommate by her husband. There was a recording of her contacting the demon of the house. There was a voice saying something's wrong. I didn't know Gary, Indiana was violent. Residents are talking about the violence and work jobs in the neighborhood. And then he learns that a little boy died in the bedroom where Mika's brother lived in. He thinks someone invited the presence into the house. He thinks Latoya's boyfriend, who was abusive, brought the demon into the house. I ain't going there. The guy didn't want anything to do with it. Didn't want to talk about it when Zach went to go, confront him about it. He invites Veritab to the investigation to see if it was man-made energy in the house. They are using a geomagnetic device. The meter keeps spiking. Zach starts feeling violent. He felt pain in his temple. He felt like he wanted to cry and get aggressive. He said his eyes were hurting, and he said it was a warning for what's to come. There's interference with the camera. The meter was reacting to him. He started lunging at Dr. Teb like Dr. Teb hears a dog growl. There's footage of the grandmother mentioning hearing dogs barking, perhaps hellhounds. He notices that folks appear confused after being in the house. Dr. Taff is showing those symptoms. Zach goes outside. They discover something on camera as Dr. Taff is walking confused. There's something sticking in and out of the bathroom. Dr. Taff places his hand on the spot, near that bathroom, and he said, and he feels affected again. He said it's bad in here and it makes you want to throw up. And then there was a cameraman named Adam who was having problems. At first, when I saw the previews to this show, I thought Adam was Aaron. I really thought that was Aaron. He had to lie down. He starts acting strange, like he's confused. No one sees him wander off into the basement alone. You can see him looking up in the camera as he's walking around the basement. Adam was lying in the bedroom where Mika's brother lived in. So that night at the hotel, Adam starts vomiting blood and screaming Zach's name. So Zach backs up as Adam said he wants to go back to the to the house. You can hear Adam cussing in the elevator. Zach asks him what's going on. Adam said he wants to go back to the hotel. I mean, he right, whatever house. I was just typing, while I'm listening and watching. So Zach asks what's in the elevator. Zach opens the elevator with Adam inside, asking him what's going on. As the cameraman approaches, Zach tells them to get back. At the same time, Dr. Taft is experiencing something strange. Strange sense of anxiety. He's sleeping. He hears a loud belch in his left ear. He jumps up and falls on the floor. He had blood in both of his ears. In the room, Zach talks to Adam. Adam said he's throwing up blood. He went out to the elevator. He wanted them to cut the cameras. He's doing like this. He was explaining how he's feeling, what he sees. Adam sees the same goat man that Zach seen in his dream that he never told anyone about. He said he saw the goat man in the elevator. He said want Zach. They get the meter and there's a cold feel around him, and Adam starts cussing. He can't stop looking at Zach. And he said, I'm gonna find you. They learn that Dr. Taft's organs shut down. He's lying in bed explaining his health. He went back to the hotel, passed out, and started shaking. Everything was happening at the same time. What was going on with Adam and Dr. Taft. They were in the same hotel. He was in the upper floor. Adam told Zach to go into the bathroom of the house, smash the mirror, and slit his throat. Jay tried to get Adam some help, but he refused. Zach decided to accelerate the situation by sealing himself in the house by nailing boards on all windows and doors. What kind of man? Shout out to Marcus Woodgrain. What? I guess Zach was like, hearing about what happened to that family wasn't enough. Seeing how he was reacting toward Dr. Taft and what's going on with Adam, and I guess that wasn't enough. He was like, well, the hell? He was like, well, let me see what's gonna happen to him. I was like, what? Speechless. Zach is wandering around. Everything is sealed up. Checking the doors and windows. He said he was afraid to turn the lights off because they were his safety chain. Then he turns them off, his night vision on. He hears a voice while at the basement threshold. The voice said, "That's my baby." He's sitting in the room on the side of the bed with the door open. I mean, that space between that door and the bed, like, I would have been scared. He is very brave. Finding a motherfucker, but woo, Lord, what were you? Let me go. And then a goat-like sound. He says, "Get away." He jumps up on the bed. Then he said, "Get away from me. Get away. Back the fuck up." He sees something walk past the door and he throws something at it. That was creepy. So after seeing it, he goes into the kitchen after feeling excruciating pain in his eyes. He's pushing a television on the floor and he said, "Get me the fuck out of here." He said his eyes are crossed and he has double vision. After tests in Las Vegas and California, they are unable to find out why he wears prism glasses permanently. Because I used to wonder why, because when I watched his older episodes of Ghost Adventure, he didn't even, a show he did where he went down in the catacombs in Paris, France. He didn't have no glasses on, and then I noticed the past couple of years, I was like, he's wearing what? And I would watch every episode and I'd be like, Zach, is he gonna take those glasses off? Is he gonna ever take those glasses? I have no idea. Wow. And he sacrificed himself. Wow. I think I heard on a movie one time, if you see, anything like that, you'll go blind. I think that was it was like an old horror movie. I'm not really sure. If you know what I'm talking about, feel free to get in the comments section and tell me, school me on this stuff. I've been reading about demonology. I even got a couple of books on it. So, whew, him. So Adam refuses to talk to Zach about the house. It was affecting him. He had 666 tattooed on his hand. I think both hands he had it. He said the one he claimed, something was touching him. Dr. Taft continued to have problems as doctors continue to figure out why. The home inspector was diagnosed with cancer. The CPS worker had motorcycle burns, a broken hand. I think that he said more. He had a whole list of her injuries. So they show the house being demolished. He kept the altar, dirt, and staircase. I know one of the people that was it the police officer or somebody in the neighborhood that said, if you tear down this house, what are you unleashing into the world? So I think the police officer that said that there were people that still practicing satanic rituals on the soil, where that house was. So I like what one person said, this was wow, I ain't never seen nothing like this before. But what the person said was, I believe Zach could get his sight back properly through prayers of healing by the priests involved in the case or a Catholic priest. But the thing is, I had some questions like, was somebody buried there? Was LaToya's boyfriend in the voodoo? Was it someone they allowed into the home to cause, all this? Was the house built on an unmarked graveyard? It's a lot of questions. And then with the lost footage, one footage he was with others where they went into the house to collect items. Chris detected bad energy in the area where the priest came in. The demons said they don't like Zach, and he said he knows this. As they go into the basement, he says he feels dizzy. Chris asks how many spirits are down there, and they get a distorted growl. Father Mike says to dig up dirt. He said the police found all types of items. Zach asks if they want to dig the items up. He says something is telling him not to dig up those items. See, the found footage, the lost footage was from the first day they had went to the house. So Chris says, make a sound so they can hear them. Zach says there's a lot of tension in the air. He changes his mind and says he doesn't want to dig those items up. He says, show yourself. He said, there's something inside his stomach. He asks what's in the dirt, and the voice says dirt. He asks who's the name of the lady who lived there with the 3 kids who was possessed. A voice says Ammons. That was her last name. And then a voice says Zach. He said he needs the name of the man who hit LaToya. Did he bury it in the ground? No answer. How many ghosts are there? It said 1. A giant anomaly flies across Chris and causes interference in the box. And Chris asks was anyone murdered in the house? And the boy says, yes. He asks, was the boy's name Trey? Zach asks who's upstairs, and says me. He asks what's his name, and says Mac. Zach says he uses common names to trick you into believing they are a harmless spirit. He asks who wants to dig. He says he wants to dig too close to close the portal. So they start digging. Father says there's a manifestation on the stairs. He says that's the area where the CPS, touched. Zach asks if they don't like them digging. They unearthed all types of artifacts. He assumed it was used to hurt them. They picked up personal items. They found fingernails. Zach hears a child screaming. Chris asks if a body is buried beneath there, and the voice says, I am. They go to the blinds and something starts forming on them. The house was bleeding like the policeman said before. Zach says something wants him to return to the basement dirt. He says he can't say why, but he wants to rebury the items into the ground regardless of the consequences. He says no one knows what he's doing. Chris sits down to calm himself. He said he feels dizzy. After looking at the attic, he heard something say, leave. Zach asks a question and says, I'll kill you. Zach asked his father what's causing this, and he said Zach says to bury the item. Father asked his why. He said he just wanted to go down there to rebury them. He said he doesn't know why. Father starts to get angry. Zach says he feels like they are protecting the house. Father Mike feels agitated as he goes outside. He says he feels disturbed that he reburied the item that he had, that he has a bad feeling. He says it's not going to be helpful. There's audio interference as he's talking on camera. Zach said it wasn't him that wanted to bury the items. Father Mike needs to exercise the items in order to close the portal. He couldn't find the fingernail. He asks if the nail will keep the portal open. Father Mike is exercising the house. He will do a follow-up investigation. He visits Chief Miller's house. He learns about an experience from the house after going to the demon house. At 2 in the morning, there's a loud crash in his house, and it sounded like a bookcase. His wife heard it too. He took a flashlight and went through the house. He thought someone broke in. He flashes the light and no one was there. His alarm says alarm off. He sets the alarm again and it disarms itself. Alarm off. A camera was installed in the house. There was something wrong with the system. Was having problems from the inside. The settings were metal so it wouldn't record. Someone hears a woman screaming, "Hey!" The chief says, "Yeah." Zach asks him if the camera does that, and he says no. The battery will go to 0. After the voice, the cell phones go dead from 97 to 0. Excuse me. Chief Charles says that it affected women and children physically and with the strongest of them all, men, electronically. Chief Miller's wife said something followed him and she doesn't want it back. One of the most terrifying incidents was with the cameraman, Adam. Zach had terminated him from the project. He met with former detective with a polygraph test on Adam. The questions he asked was if he had vomited in Zach's bathroom. The response was yes. Has he felt pain with his stomach before he vomited blood? He said yes. Has he seen a demon at the hotel after some? I don't even know what I wrote. After being with Zach. He said yes. Is Zach's house made him violent? He said yes, and the visualization made him paranoid and violent. Was he terrified? He said yes. Has he experienced back pain? Yes. Has he had a dream about Zach's house prior to arriving? Yes. If he screamed for Zach after seeing the demon creature in the elevator? Yes. If he had visions of seeing Zach? Yes. If he had visions of Zach killing himself with broken glass from a mirror? Yes. But before he went to Zach's house, if he believed the stories he heard about the paranormal, he said no, he didn't believe it. If he believed demons in Zach's house from the experience, he said yes. If he heard a growl from the basement while filming, he said he did along with others. He was truthful in all of his responses, and that is something that will stay with him forever. And then they showed Adam being interviewed saying he saw a demon in the elevator, and he revisioned that he's seen, what he's seen in the hotel. He said he saw the devil and it would scare him. He screamed for Zach. He said this is real and it isn't anything anyone is making up for money. I can look in his eyes and I believe him. So Zach wanted to visit the house at no reason whatsoever. He asks if anyone is in there. He says hello. He's walking through the house in the dark and asks hello again. Billy looks away and looks back to see there's glowing eyes in a room. The grandmother says she would see those eyes before an activity. Zach is about to go down the stairs. He says hello. He asks if someone down there. He screams and runs back upstairs. He runs outside. They ask him what he's seeing. He said he's speechless. Or was he speechless? I meant it like he was speechless. He says, oh my God. He felt ice cold wind go down his back and he felt paralyzed. He saw something glowing in the camera. He felt a surge of energy come up those stairs and broke him out of his paralysis. It captured a hissing sound. Jay says he's tasting blood in his mouth, and they were reminded about the blood from the house, so Jay spits out blood in the snow. Zach heads back in and takes pictures inside. His phone dies from after 50%. He says they don't want to be seen. He said once it learns his name, it wants to kill him, and it doesn't want their photo taken, so he locks up, and he said he doesn't like this. And there you go, folks, and that was my review of Demon House by Zach Bagans on the Tramble channel. Hope you all enjoyed it. I really don't know what else to say, because that was wild, you know. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more content. If you like my content, feel free to donate. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.